Okay, let's take a second together here and build out what has got to be one of the most common tasks when building a Windows 8 application, and that is the settings pane. And of course, that flyout is accomplished in XAML with a pop-up control, and the pop-up control requires quite a bit of manual implementation as far as its placement, its dismissal, its animation, things like that. As well, what we want to do is leverage the charm itself. That settings charm is there so that in fact, let me just show that real quickly. Here I am on my desktop. This is the simulator, and if I invoke, here's the settings, and that's where I get to control panel, personalization, and things that are specific to the desktop itself. Let's say I was going to launch a Windows app here like Internet Explorer and invoke the charm there. Now, those settings are different, right? They're specific in the context of the application itself. Nice. So, how do we do that for our application? Good question. Great point. All right, so let's implement that together. I'll create a new project, and I'm just going to select blank. We're going to do this as simple as possible. So with a blank application, I'm going to create a new folder. Now these flyouts, the contents of them are just self-contained user controls. So I'll create the user controls for us that we can use to that we can do all of the implementation, but I will not do the implementation. The implementation itself is for another time. I just want to show how you would show it in the first place. So I'll just add a quick folder. I'll call that folder flyouts. I'll add a quick user control. And the first one I'll call settings. And I say first one because I want to do two. I want to do settings and about, right? I think it's normal, right? Those are probably the most common that we would implement. And so I'll add another one, about, and I'm going to edit the XAML of them, but I'm not going to do any implementation. So I'll do background. Whoa, that's cool. CK, there we go. Background equals, let's say green. Again, this is not an implementation, just so we can see it when I present it. Create a quick text block. Font size is, let's say 40. The margin is, we'll say 20, and then I'm just going to say, where are my settings? No, about, right? Just so we can recognize it. I did a different color. You're going to need to pick a color yourself. Let me go in and do the same thing to settings. All right, I'll just copy that XAML from one to the other, change it from green to red, and then from about to settings, so we can see them differently. All right, I've got those. All that implementation there is up to you. I've already blogged about how to roam your settings and save settings, so don't feel like there's not a million resources for you there. And now I'm going to do one more thing, and this is, remember when I said the implementation of pop-up to act like a flyout was a considerable amount of implementation. So I'll call this the settings helper. And so I use CodePaste, codepaste.net. What a great website. And let me pull it up. And I want you to notice this URL. See, codepaste.net/enx7r9. enx7r9. That's good to know because you can go there and take what I'm about to take. Right? These are all my snippets that I've put up there. I am going to copy this one. It's completely self-contained, which means I can just replace this class with that code. I'm going to scroll up. There's a couple underlined reds. Just require a few using statements to be added. Let me scroll up, pop up, and settings command, and that will give me settings pane. Great. It's probably my favorite keyboard shortcut, by the way. Control period will reveal that smart tag for you, so you don't have to hit that little box with your mouse just right. It's nice. Okay. This is the settings helper. There's nothing to do here. It's all self-contained and ready to go. You can go in and change it all you want. That's what's nice about being self-contained and not like a DLL that you're adding. You can go in and do anything to it, and it's yours from this point forward, right? Okay, let me open up AppXAML, and I'm going to go down right after navigation. So here's the initial navigation to the first page. And so here I'll just say var helper equals new flyouts.helper. And then from that point forward, I'll add the command. What's actually happening behind the scenes when the user selects the settings charm, the operating system raises an event inside my application. That event has event handlers, and I add commands to that, and then I handle the command whenever it's tapped to reveal that flyout. All that work it's just very repetitive, right? Why wouldn't you have a helper like this? Of course you would. Helper dot add command. This is generic, and the type that it's expecting is the user control that it's going to invoke for you. So we'll say about, and then here's the string, right? A-B-O-U-T. That's the string that's going to show up in that. And I've got a couple other things I could pass in here. The key itself, if I wanted to make it uniquely identified, as well as the width between the small and the wide. And that's only important because the guidelines recommend sizes to you, and so those are already baked in now to the helper, so you don't have to think about it. So here's settings. Whoops, that's actually the settings helper. So there's the settings user control. I'll make this preferences. That's kind of cool. And there's nothing else. There really is nothing else. I'm going to change this so they'll run in the simulator for me and hit debug. Remember, all I did was create those two user controls to be placeholders for where the settings and about will be, and then implement it in app.cs. And implementing it in app.cs is important because because I did it there, it doesn't matter what page I'm on. It'll show up no matter what, right? If I did it individually on those pages, then I'd have to repeat it on every page to make sure. Now that's good because well, from a global point of view, you may not want to do it on every page because then you want everything to be the same. However, you may want to inject one extra thing, you know what I mean, for a page. It might have its own layout or whatever kind of settings that you want to put there as well. So this just move it into the CS of that page. Okay, I'm going to invoke the charms. Here we are, settings. And you can see here's about. I click on it. There's about. I'll invoke the charms. And there's preferences, brings up my settings. See, it's the red one, very nice. Please don't use that color. And then permissions is always there. Those are the permissions my application has asked for. The capabilities, I guess, my application has asked permission to use. And that every Windows 8 application has that. All right. That's all there is to it, believe it or not. It really is. All that code is available for you to just take and go with. Hopefully this is like Legos in a Lego block set, right? And you can start putting it together and having your application to market even faster. Remember, the code is yours. Make it do whatever you want. If it doesn't do enough for you, make it do more. If it does just enough and you want to steal it all into your own, go for it. It's all yours. All right, best of luck.